Hello YouTube, this is FlyingFish92 here, bringing you a commentary video of the resonant connections that are going to be in Halo 4. This was made by Frank O'Connor. Frank O'Connor says that the novels and the terminals all will play in and have connections in Halo 4, and I just decided, to put together this video just so that, when E3 comes next week, there's no confusion and everyone knows, what the plot of the story is, even if it's kind of a deal breaker or a spoiler if you want to say. Mainly the sources for these were the terminals in Halo 3, the terminals in Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, the novels Halo Cryptum, Primordium, and Glasslands. Now, in Glasslands, it was mainly a focus of what happened after the war, after the Covenant's forces were stopped at Installation 00, also known as the Ark. The Covenant fell apart after the Prophet of Truth was killed because there was no one to take over the leadership. Most of the Prophet species were killed in the attack on High Charity by the Flood. Afterwards, Lord Hood decides to seek a peace treaty with the Arbiter, who was currently the leader for most of the Sangeli forces. After a period of time, the Sangeli began to get divided, and some still believe that the humans were just using this peace treaty to regain strength, and that they would eventually return and try to exterminate the Sangeli, which was more than right. I can't really say it was wrong in essence. It was actually pretty right. Makes me believe the Sangeli are psychic or something. The Office of Naval Intelligence, also known as the ONI, is this private division in the UNSC, and they plan to do exactly this. They plan to do this through the creation of Project Infinity, and Infinity is a UNSC starship that was being constructed in the cloud just beyond our solar system, and it was essentially supposed to be a massive carrier, massive ship that was essentially supposed to act as a failsafe plan in case humans needed something to beat back the Covenant in case Earth was lost. But after the Chief put a stop to the Covenant's forces on the Ark, they no longer needed the Infinity. But the head of ONI, Miss Paragonsky, as I will dub her temporarily, she put together a team in Glasslands that were supposed to accelerate the division of the Sangeli, and they were supplying them with Covenant weapons so that they could again start a war and try to kill the Arbiter. Most of the insurrection was led by a man for now I will dub him as Telcam. Now, in essence, this was kind of just a plan to exterminate the Sangeli, divide them further, and then sweep in to finish the job. Now, in this, after a while, in all of this division and all of this separation between the Sangeli, the humans, in essence, a division of the UNSC, was secretly plotting to use the Infinity as well as a few other smaller starships in order to basically put an end to the Sangeli as a species because they hated them for killing billions of their own people. Now, Halo Cryptum, the second book that came out, was mainly a focus of the adventures of Born Stellar Makes Eternal Lasting, along with Riser and Chakas. In their adventures, they encountered the Didact, who revealed that the Forerunners and the humans fought a war long ago. That's another point. So, while Frank O'Connor stated clearly that the Covenant would return in Halo 4 as being an antagonist, they won't be primary. It could be replaced by the Forerunners, possibly, that the Forerunners and the humans resume their ancient war. That has not yet been confirmed. But As stated before, the humans fought a war against the Forerunners, and then when they lost, they were de-evolved to a primitive state. The humans and the prophet species, also known as the Santium, had an alliance, and essentially they had a capital. A capital planet was known as Charum Hakor. That was the highest source of precursor ruins. The precursors were the race that created all life in the universe. Essentially, they came long before the Forerunners. They created the Forerunners and the humans. The precursors vanished in a war between the Forerunners and the precursors. This war was as a result of the precursors. Essentially, they created all life, but that didn't mean that they were good. The precursors are pretty evil. The precursors created life, and then when they saw fit, or they thought that a species proved too problematic and they did not deserve inheriting the mantle is the upheld vision of religion that says that it's their sworn duty to protect all life in the galaxy. They would destroy the species essentially, and the Forerunners became aware of this and they erased the precursors. Essentially, there was a capsule that was found on a world far out in the galaxy, a dying world, and it was excavated and brought to the human Santium capital, and the humans began communicating with it. In the Halo 3 terminals, where the Didac says, "We can halt this thing," referring to the flood, "and follow in their path," the referring to the precursors. He says, "We will burn this stinking menace and go on the great journey." The great journey where?